Sure, yeah, I'm Raymond ESTES. I lead and we all die. We're a post-punk, post-hardcore project. We dabble in hardcore and industrial and other kinds of music, and we just released a four-song EP of Misfits covers with two more traditional punk rock, hardcore versions, and then two industrial rock versions featuring Ghost.
Beautiful, mate. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. So, as you say, And We All Die released the four-track EP Static Age back on October 31st. So, how's the early reception been for it?
It's been great so far. It's been the best reception we've had for any release. It's hard to say why that is. Maybe it's Spotify is actually working for us this time, but we 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 can't really complain. Really the project is me, but it's everybody who contributes, and Walter the drummer and Guillermo the guitar player are really excited about the volume of people that are checking out the track, and just the amount of streams it's getting. Who knew?
Yeah. And you break your usual trend of releasing music in the spring to dive into Halloween. So, it's been a successful experiment.
I think so. Halloween was pretty incredible. It seemed like it made it out to a lot of folks. Maybe because of the press, it got to the right folks at the right time. But it's made it on a lot of playlists, and I think that people are digging it.
Yeah, cool. And as we say, mate, like the EP features two covers of Misfits songs, Static Age and TV Casualty. So, firstly, why choose Misfits songs, and then why these particular two songs?
I love the Misfits and have for a long time. I like horror punk, and I like really all that Danzig has done. But for And We All Die, we don't really do horror songs. We do more conceptual songs or songs about the human condition. And as a hardcore guy, I thought what would be more interesting to do would be to take songs that are dark, have this more science fiction, or these more science fiction themes are more based on the perils of technology, and make those fresh, because that seems to be more exciting to me than singing about ghouls or zombies or something.
True that. And each song was covered twice. Once in a style like for which And We All Die is better known for, and the other featuring the synthwave artist Ghost with the more industrial edged approach. So, what was the thought process there behind covering the same song twice?
Well, that's a great question. Initially, when we talked about doing these songs with the guys, it was, let's make them heavy, let's make them fun, let's make them exciting for kind of our each take on hardcore today, right? But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to maybe take them a little bit further and explore some of the sonic components that aren't in the originals, but that are sort of teased out with maybe not the melody, but the sort of vibe of the song. And we did that, and it's kind of funny because those versions have received the better response.
Oh, did they? Cool. And you don't produce carbon copies of the originals either. Like you take liberties and you bastardize each version to firmly plant your own DNA all over it. So, what was the process of deconstructing the songs and then reconstructing them in your own image?
So it started out initially where we were just going to have keyboards, right? Add some synths. We sent him over to Ghost, and he contributed his parts pretty quickly. And then it was like we sat on him for a long time, and was what to do, because his parts were really much more involved and much more incredible than we had expected. We thought, oh, we'll just put some backing synths and we'll see, but they really changed the tenor of the songs. And so then once we were able to team up with William Faith, we were able to really turn those into more industrial rock songs versus hardcore songs with keyboards, or synthwave songs with real drums or something. But it really was a group effort. We were surprised by Ghost's contributions, and then William Faith was really able to incorporate those and tie those together with some extra bit of post production and programming to make them, or to flesh them out into what they are now.
And even the two songs that you guys did, like the industrial ones are great, but the two ones that you did, they were a bit faster and they had more urgency, I think, than the originals. Like how was it How does it feel to take classic songs like that and change them in a way that people can actually notice?
Well, I guess to our take initially, well, really where we got started was we thought we were going to cover some Black Flag songs,
Right.
and we realized that trying to do some variations on Greg Ginn's guitar work is kind of hard, right? You either have to do it right or ignore it or do something completely different. And we realized we probably couldn't do justice in the time frame we were working with. And so we settled on some Misfit songs, and we thought we would then try to maybe take a Black Flag approach to those. And they just sort of evolved into being these really more heavier kind of post punk versions. They're not chugga chugga hardcore heavy. They're not metal. They're very like we leaned into the rockabilly elements, but we just simplified it and took out some of the more soulful bluesy elements and just leaned into the heavy rhythms.
I'm glad you actually mentioned that about Black Flag because in the review that I did, I also said that it sounded very Black Flagish, so I was on the right track.
No, absolutely. The One of the things that I've tried to do is not doctor my vocals so much, and I because I like that early approach to hardcore, but that's how they came out in these songs. I don't know if they're working. It seems like it hasn't stopped people from listening, so we'll see.
That's a good start. So, as a lover of all that sort of music, mate, like when you're taking songs like this and changing them, like, are you conscious that you don't want to go too far in case the original artist listens to him one day and goes, "What the fuck's he done with my music?"
Absolutely, we recorded these songs a long time ago. They've been sitting on the shelf waiting for the right, post producer, mixer, partner. And to be honest, I was terrified of releasing terrible covers of Misfit songs because they're, to many people, they're canon, right? I mean, you grow up listening to the Misfits. It doesn't matter when you get in, for many people, it doesn't matter when they got into punk rock or hardcore or even metal. At some stage, you're exposed to the Misfits or Sam Hain or Danzig, and those songs have a special meaning to a lot of people. And so we were worried, if we did a terrible version, it might be bad for us for a long time. So we sat on them. And we finally, I think we got it right, or right enough. I don't. I mean, I could have tinkered with these for another several years, right, until I was maybe more comfortable. But I think they're good enough, and the team's happy.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Now, Static Age is And We All Die's first release since 2018's Modern Day Privateers. So, what's changed with the band in between releases?
Quite a bit. In 2018, I started working on demos for an album and pulling up old demos that had been sitting around to see if they would work, and sort of did that for about a year or so. In 2019 through 2020, we started doing pre-production and basic recording for the album and completed it. So there's 12 songs that were recorded in that time frame for a more industrial rock, sort of heavier, dark album. Then once those were sort of in the phase where they just needed to go to post production, we started working on an EP of Cure covers, and we recorded 5 of those, different people contributing to each song. So they're really like 5 different bands doing 5 songs. And then those were kind of ready for post production. And then comes 2000, late 2020, 2021, I started work on a rock album, and that includes a bunch of different folks, and that's about halfway done. So in between 2018 and now, we have nearly 30 songs ready for release. We just got to get those through post production and sort of final tinkering, but that should start at the end of the year or beginning of next year.
Oh. So, it sounds to me like you guys put a lot of time and effort into making sure these all sound right. Like you say, you're finishing these in 2020. It's 4 years later now, and you're not rushing to get them out. Like you're waiting until they digest, I guess, and you're fully happy with everything. It's good.
Right. And, there's been, different things have happened. COVID was a bit of a challenge with some things, and things have happened over the past few years to kind of get in the way. But now, now we're able to focus on that, and everybody that's contributed to those is happy with where we are with them. I obviously don't want my teammates for each project to be disappointed or dissatisfied with what they've done. So it's really raising the bar for every release, and I think the standard for this album is pretty high.
So which one's coming out next?
It'll be a heavier dark record called In Dark Places, and it'll have 12 songs. And I think you'll be surprised. It's definitely there's been a lot of progression in the sound from 2016 to 2020, 21 when that album was basically completed.
And they're all original songs?
They're all original. Yep.
Very cool. So is And We All Die a touring band, or are you more of a studio project?
We are not a performing project at all. We've talked about that, and we had started to put together a live band down in Austin, Texas, but it just didn't happen. So it's possible that could happen in future. There's members that have been on different releases that are excited about it, but now we're living in different states across the US, and I don't know how feasible that is. But it's something we'd like to do. How we get there, I don't know. But right now we just want to get these records out.
So if someone wants to know more about the band or keep up with what you're doing, what's the best place to find out?
Right now, probably Instagram. We're updating our website, really getting that prepared for the album. So it's not a reliable place for news right now. But I'd say Instagram would be the best place, or just shoot us a message, and we're happy to answer any questions.
No worries. But in the meantime, Static Age is out now via download from Bandcamp and from Spotify, streaming, all your usual platforms. And I did a review on it, mate, and it's a really, really solid effort, mate. So congratulations, well done, and check it out.
Thank you. I appreciate that.